flexing, rolling through the SWAT. Repping for the city, hear him in the parking lot. Houston written across the jersey, ain't gon' never stop. Just fans got me tuning in, waiting for the drop. Astros, Texas, Rockets, Dynamo, they coming with it. When they pull up, got the city sitting on a fitted. Straight up A-Leaf, hold it down, ain't gon' never quit it. Just fans got me tuning in, let my dogs get it. Southwest A-Leaf, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans.
What's going on, everybody? It's Carlos, your host of the Just Fans podcast, and I'm joined here like I am every week by the mother lover himself, Rios. How's it going, Rios?
Going pretty good, man. We'll see if I get a season assist letter from Amy Adams Strunk.
There you go. It has been sent. She's sitting in the back right now petting a cat like, yes, send it as a season.
Hairless cat.
Hairless cat, too.
Yeah.
She has to turn around from her chair and says $1 billion. And, of course, we got the one and only turn on your SAP buttons or your closed captioning for Poppy. How's it going, Poppy?
Fucking great, dude. Fucking fantastic. You already know what's up.
It's a fucking great.
That came out the huevo.
Closed captioning has gone out the window now. Hey, man, and today we got an amazing guest, man. You've seen him on all over Twitter in case you're in the spaces. He's all over the place. He has some really cool shorts that he produces. He's a fellow Texans content creator. We got the one and only, are you blessing or are you stressing? The good old Houston Stressings. Garrett, how's it going, Garrett?
Pretty good. I'm big blessing. Appreciate you guys having me on. Just want to say shout out to y'all. I've had a chance to watch you guys here and there when I got time, and y'all do a great job. So keep it up, and appreciate you guys having me on. I do want to say before, I just got my shirt in today. I made this with Tomorrow's Retro, and I bought my own and shipped in. It's a 713 shirt. So if you see it, I'll drop some details after. But I'm really proud about this one.
Oh yeah, for sure. That looks awesome. Hold it up again, real quick.
Yeah, so it's the 713. Basically, I had like that one graphic I made. It kind of went viral, and it's Stroud, Diggs, and Dell. 713 connection, baby. Oh, and it's got my logo on the back. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh shit!
Nice.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey,
man.
real quick. Hey, Corey,
let's go.
Eat
Corey.
shit. Eat shit. Come on, after that, Corey.
For you,
That was perfect. That was perfect. Hey, man. Hey, so before we actually start talking a little bit of Texans, man, Garrett, tell us how exactly did you come up with that slogan? Are you stressing? Are you blessing? How did that come about?
It's just been a natural evolution. So, I mean, I, like most people, have been in the shadows, like with the personal Twitter for forever, lifelong Houston fan. Finally decided to make one in December, basically to get off my hot takes like everybody else does. And then, we had that stretch of games. It felt like 7 games in a row. I forget what it was, where like every game came down to like literally the final minute or minutes.
Yep.
And whether win or loss, it was very stressful. So I came up with the Houston Stressins. And so that kind of was my identity for a while. And I actually had a buddy, shout out Anthony Blanco. It all started like after the playoff game that we lost. Or there was a game we lost, I think after the Browns of the regular season. And there was a clip of C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. And he said something like, we're going to be all right, we blessing or something. And so then my buddy's like, hey, you should do blessing or stressing. It's like I love it or hate it. So I'm sure I spam the shit out of it. Maybe I annoy people, but, it's pretty catchy. And it's a great way to, see if people hate it or love it. But we bless them, though.
No, it's awesome. It's a great slogan. It's very catchy, like you said. Because I think whenever you're trying to develop something like that, you always kind of in the back of your mind, you're like, is it going a little too overboard? What's it going? But that caught up. Like that caught up. I would see it pop up on my timeline every once in a while. I was like, that's pretty cool. I like that.
Appreciate it. So you ain't stressing then?
Yeah, exactly. I ain't stressing. I'm blessing. Yeah.
Right now that is the off season. We blessing.
We bless.
For sure.
Week one, I'm gonna be stressing the whole way through.
Yeah, hopefully they're not as close, man. We'll see. I guess we'll probably talk about that, but I think a lot of that is just philosophy. But man, that was crazy last year.
It was. So you were, correct me if I'm wrong here. You did. You played in college. Is that correct? Or am I wrong here? You were a college athlete.
I did. I played. But I don't know how much I played. I was at Stephen F. Austin for my undergrad for 4 years, and then at Incarnate Word, I got my master's there and was there on the team. Played 1 year there, so wide receiver. So that's kind of why I've like focused on wide receiver, and I still love the game, obviously, and still involved in some other capacities. So besides this, but yeah, so got a decent knowledge of the game.
There you go.
Awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
you run the
Wide
team. It
receiver.
counts. Doesn't matter how much you played. You run the team. You got a uniform.
That's right. Who is it? Brian Scalabrine from the Celtics. I don't know if y'all remember that
Yeah.
quote. He was like the redheaded guy. He was the redheaded guy who was on like a couple of the championship teams, maybe just one, maybe two. But he was asked in an interview like about like what he'll tell his kids about it. He's like, in 5 years I'll tell my kid I was the backup. In 10, 15 years I'll tell my kid or my grandkid that I played X amount of minutes. He's like, in 20, 30 years I'm gonna tell him I was the damn MVP. So
There you go. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, man. So let's get talking some Texans over here, man. So first things first. I guess let's talk about coaching first, okay? Before we actually get into the players, you got D'Amico going into year 2. Obviously he's more experienced now, his second year, and preparing maybe a little bit deeper in the off season, along with Bobby Slowick and the offense. Excuse me. So, what are your expectations coming in on year 2 for D'Amico and Bobby Slowick?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the rest of the team and the players. Really, sky is the limit. Last year was so incredible in so many ways, but you factor in, like you just mentioned, a rookie head coach, a rookie offensive coordinator, a rookie quarterback, and look what they did. So, I think we tend to forget that not only do rookie players have to adjust to the NFL, but rookie head coaches and rookie play callers also have their ups and downs as well. So I think we saw some of that. Slowick, you could tell he was kind of finding his rhythm. I think part of it too was, and this is one of my concerns that I've talked about going into next year, is the play calling offensively, whether or not we'll be as conservative as we were at times last year. You could really tell that Slowick early on was super conservative. So I don't know how much of that was him as a play caller or in him, not fully trusting in CJ Stroud. You could tell that he didn't really give him the keys to the offense until later on, probably week 7 or 8, I believe, was the Tampa game. But in my opinion, that cost us a couple games against the Panthers and the Falcons. The Panthers and Falcons, 2 games where we were just super, super conservative on offense, run first down, second down, third and long. Every time CJ threw it, it was a completion. So hopefully he grows in that regard. I think he will. And he's got, I said it earlier on the Spaces, he's got an offensive coordinator's wet dream, bro. Like all the weapons he's got. CJ Stroud, he just freaking brought in Diggs like a master route runner. So it'll be interesting to see too, like him evolving, but also, and we can talk about this later, how he'll utilize that new personnel. You would think if he wasn't traded for a third receiver that we're going to run 11 personnel or have 3 receivers on the field more than we did last year. So, but then D'Amico, man, I'll say this now. Sorry, I could talk about this all day. So
Go for it, man.
D'Amico, I will hand up, like when we were looking for a new head coach, I was all about Shane Steichen or a young, innovative offensive mind for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's an offensive-driven league, so I wanted someone that would run a good offense. And 2, when you get a defensive head coach, even if you do get a good OC like we did in Bobby Slowick, you still have to run the gamut of, if you're good like you want to be, you have to replace that coordinator every 1, 2, 3 years, and we're already kind of having those discussions. So, but the thing that I did not weigh in about D'Amico is he's young and innovative himself. He's not like these typical defensive-minded head coaches. He thinks very outside the box. He's willing to adapt and move stuff day-to-day, play-to-play. And then he's a player's coach too. Like a lot of his intangibles, like the way he is as a leader, you can't really like put a number on like how valuable that stuff is. But to me, that is a massive reason why he's so successful as a coach. I mean, y'all seen him now. He's like super jacked. Like he could probably give us 10 to 20 snaps right now,
Oh yeah.
Definitely, man.
But the way he like relates with these players, he's still like so fresh out of the game. So he knows exactly how they think, and he's able to communicate with them on like levels that other coaches aren't. And it's just something you have or you don't. And he's bringing the best out of these players. Like him grooming Christian Harris is a prime example. Like you watch all the mic'd ups, like how much he was struggling and like just the way he's talking to him. And then, so I mean, that'll be fun to watch, D'Amico continuing to be a player's coach and get the best out of these players. So,
when you say that, it brought me, so Rios and Poppy had Kareem Jackson on before on our show. And then we had, we also had Quentin Demps, and these are 2 Coach Demps. And so they both talked when they were on, they both talked about, we asked them about D'Amico Ryans, and both of them said that he just brings the best out of people. So when they were playing beside him, he was always coaching guys that wouldn't most likely wouldn't make the team. And Quentin Demps even said he was coaching guys like me. I wasn't even sure I was going to make the team, and he was coaching them up. And some people would be like, players on the team would be like, "Why are you coaching this guy up?" But that's the leader in D'Amico Ryans, you know. And so this was back then, and now look at him now. He's coaching. So every bit of what you're of every time we hear something about D'Amico being an inspirational coach, it always brings us back to that moment, because it's like, yeah, we've heard it from actual players that how he was before, obviously, you know, and he transitioned to what he is now. So that it just kind of speaks in volumes of D'Amico Ryans.
Well, what does that tell you about him? It tells you he's unselfish. I mean, like any human would be like, "Oh, I'm not going to waste my time on that," and that's as a player, bro.
Yeah, that's as a player, and he was doing his stuff, and you know, he's unselfish, exactly.
One other thing about him that I think isn't highlighted enough is, and I feel like this is rare in today's football, whether it's college or NFL, he is willing to play the best player no matter what. Like if you're a rookie, vet, signed the day before, he don't give a damn. And I feel like that's rare. I feel like a lot of coaches have egos and they can't let go of admitting they were wrong. Like if you had a bad draft pick, cutting your ties. But I mean, you look last year, how many rookies we had played and started. And he says it too. He's like, you know, the best guy's going to play. Like a lot of coaches say that, but he actually does it too. And then we had guys come off the street, and you know, you happen to be better than this draft pick. Fuck it, you're playing.
Yeah.
So we'll pick you out in the stadium. I'm like, can you throw a ball? Let's go. Come on. Get on here.
A good example of that is the Astros with Jose Abreu. Like he clearly wasn't working out, but they kept trying to force him into the lineup, and it just wasn't working.
We only had to lose 20 odd games with him in the lineup for them to be like, maybe.
And what's our record? I saw like it compiled of like the games he's missed and that he was cut.
The ones that he missed, I think,
12
were like
22 and 12.
22 and 12. So we would be sitting probably in first place in the AL West right now.
Oh, definitely.
Well, yeah.
The
all right,
Astros are another
yeah, a whole different universe.
A whole different.
That's stressing over there a little bit.
All capital letters.
Yeah, extremely stressing right now. But hey, you know what? They just swept the Orioles, so that was pretty good. That second best team in the AL. I mean, excuse me.
Shit! Did y'all see today? I saw Chas McCormick.
Oh yeah, I saw your picture. Yeah, he posted.
I was getting an IV over here in the Memorial area. I was hungover, and I hear this guy walk up, and like he's like, "Oh, it's my first time. My wife comes here." He's like, "I'm not dehydrated." He's like, "I'm an athlete," and I was like, "This guy's an athlete." And he's like, "My email is Chas McCormick." I like popped my head. I was like, "What, bro? Like, what's up?" That shit was
the thing is, like, Chas looks.
Shout out Chas.
Looks like a dude. He just looks like a dude, bro.
Dude, he was so cool. Like I was harassing him. He was just like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" Like I was like our opinions, like asking about shit. He's like, "Yep, I agree. That's right." I'm like, "Damn."
He's a cold hero here in Houston, man. He cemented his place in Astros.
Literally in center field in Philadelphia.
It's there.
Right. Imprint's still there.
Still there. The Phillies haven't changed it.
They won't forget it.
Sorry, Carlos.
No, you're good. You're good. So I wanted to move over to Philly special card that says Slowick will get a head coach after the season. Could be. There's a possibility, because he was in talks this past season with the Panthers. No, not Panthers. I think the Panthers might have been the team. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was. But
Panthers, Commanders, and the Falcons, I believe.
Yeah,
so after year one, won't be there. It's just a matter of if he wants it or not. But I don't know if y'all saw the interview with Ben Johnson from the Lions, the OC there. Kind of like Slowick, he's a hot commodity, like young offensive mind. People were asking him, like he's basically been like Slowick and really D'Amico. He waited a couple years, but he made a good point. He said that like everyone thinks about players coming into the NFL and them being focused on getting that second contract. Like a lot of them say, okay, everyone can make it to the league. It's a matter of if you stay. He's like, I have that same mindset as a coach. Like I'm not just kind of go anywhere that offers me the first job and go into a shitty environment to suck. Like I want to go somewhere where I know I can succeed and get a second contract. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it kind of gave me hope with Slowick. Like, hey, everyone assumes he's gone, but like he has all the control in the situation. Like he can wait until he goes to the right fit. And if you think about it, that's basically what D'Amico did with Houston. Like he could have came here sooner. He could have gone somewhere else sooner. He waited until the time was right. The stars aligned. We had all this draft capital, and now people are going to see his situation and be like, shit, why don't I wait like D'Amico?
Yeah, it's a great example.
Hopefully, D'Amico tells Slowick that too. Like, hey, wait, bro.
Yeah,
Give
like
us-
come on, man, let's play out this rookie contract with CJ. And let's.
We're building something here, man. We're building something. Give it a sec.
So,
Give it a
so,
sec.
so let me ask you,
Let's
like,
simmer.
what do you think? Now going into year 2 with D'Amico and everything, obviously the expectations last year weren't as high as coming into this year. Do you think that him and Slowick and the whole coaching staff, do you think like if knock on wood, the Texans start struggling this year, do you think like the fan base is going to start like turning on them? Because if you see Texans Twitter last year, everybody was riding the D'Amico wave, rightfully so, because we're doing so good because of the low expectations. Do you think this year, if the cars start slowing down a little bit, people are going to start like pointing fingers and stuff like that, or do you think this is going to be a transition year, or do you think that we're just going to keep going?
I mean, as a fan base, myself, and I think I speak for the rest of the fan base, like our expectations are high as shit. Like we're like Super Bowl, like and as they should be. Like, we have
that's Rios right there. Rios is like, oh, we're winning it.
We got the staff, we got the players, we got the quarterback. So I mean, yeah, fans will be upset. I mean, it depends how it were to go wrong. If it's because of bad coaching or if there's injuries. I mean, it depends on the circumstance. But regardless, you're going to have a certain contingent. But I would say, from the way it is now, if it were, I'm trying to envision like how things were to go bad, which would be hard for me to envision, but it would have to be some crazy shit going on. So I would feel like most fans would be understanding, like us rational fans that know shit. Like we'd be able to be like, okay, like we know what we have. It's kind of like the Astros. Like I've been stressing this year, but deep down I know like this is a legit,
like the window's still open for the Astros.
Yeah, like we know what we have, even though this year is different. The whole Bagwell Crane thing, but it's just like a better analogy would be the other teams that ended up winning us started slow, so it would be like that for me. But I can't speak for the whole fan base. I know every fan base has got its,
So yeah, no, I remember hearing you on the Spaces today, and I think one of the things that y'all were talking about, like what would be considered a
failure?
Not a failure, but like a letdown. And I think I heard some guys say AFC Championship at least, or something like that.
Yeah.
Or whatnot. For you, would it? You just said it would be either Super Bowl or what would it be for you?
I'm on the clock, Carlos, for what?
Yeah, you're on the clock. Oh.
Why?
You're on the clock.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah. So for me, like my aspirations are Super Bowl or bust, but I mean, it's obviously if we don't win, I'm not going to be like upset. Like, but that's like right now I'm thinking like I want the whole damn thing because I think we had that team. And then obviously we've never made it to the AFC Championship game, so at least making it there would be. Oh shit! I'm on the draft. I'm on the clock in the draft.
Yeah.
Oh, rookie draft, man.
I got to pick Brock Bowers. Eric, give me a second, bro. I'll do it in a second.
Brock Bowers.
You're in the middle of a draft right now. That's what they were wondering.
They're like, hey, bro, come on.
I got a podcast, bro.
How can we reach this dude out?
I'm working. Anyway, yeah, Tom's in that league too. What's up, Tom?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Just straight the pick.
I mean, even if we like had a first round loss, that would be devastating. But I mean, it's still the NFL. We know stuff happens, but it's hard for me to envision how that happens. But me personally, a Super Bowl or bust, and I would be most happy, AFC Championship or bust, whether we win or not. Just making it there, just getting over that hump would be massive.
Do you think realistically, we have everything that it takes to be a team like Kansas City, a team like Baltimore, in order to make it to that Super Bowl?
1000%. One big thing about our team that people weren't really talking about, that D'Amico has talked about, and just like everything he says, like this dude fucking gets it. Like he's the guy. Obviously, we got the offense, defense. Obviously, there's some holes here and there which may not be holes, at least what fans think, but he understands how to beat these teams like Mahomes and Lamar Jackson with great quarterbacks, and you do it through your pass rush and your D-line, and he says it over and over again. And what did we do this year? We loaded that shit up. We got, obviously, Will Anderson Jr. coming back for his second year. You lost Gernard, but you upgraded him with Danielle Hunter, who's maybe one of the most underrated players in the league. And then you got Danico Autry, who is probably, if on any team, he's probably the second best pass rusher for most teams. So, I mean, our trio of pass rushers is insane. And so you keep that in mind. I mean, you look last year how the Chiefs lost that one random game. I forget, it was some holiday to the Raiders. They got fucking donkey stomped by them because their D-line went off. And who was it? Like Aiden O'Connell beat them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, that's the recipe to beat those teams. So if that D-line is what we think it is and the rest of the team is what we think it is, I for sure think we got the right team. And then the way our team is built, you think about the San Francisco model, it's the Shanahan tree. You know, it's really somewhat of a conservative. It's through the run, and it's about playing elite, great defense, conservative ball control on offense, grind the clock out, shorten the game, which last year our run game was our weakness. If we can get that run game just a little bit better, we have a playoff run type team built. So
to make the offense a little bit more unpredictable. I feel like, once teams figure out the run game for us, they were like, okay, let's just cover all the passing lanes. Let's just double up on their targets. Thankfully, CJ was very good at and very accurate at finding the people he wanted, but it's tough. It's tough to make it all the way just by throwing the ball. You got to run it.
For sure. And that's what Bobby's talked about in his press conferences too. Like he's giddy as hell. Like you listen to him talk. And his answers, all of us, we want to know, like, we got Diggs now, like how much we're going to throw it, how much we're going to 11 personnel. And he's basically saying it's dictated based off of the defensive personnel. But then within that, he's like, we can beat you any kind of way on offense. We can go 5 wide and throw the bitch, or we can go 2-3 running backs and run it down your throat, is like basically what he's saying. I mean, we'll see, but he seems to be confident in that, like, we can win in more than one way, which is what you need. You can't just be one-dimensional, like if one part of your game gets shut down, what are you going to do?
Well, that's the best part too. Like what I really enjoyed about this offseason is that they literally, and I've said this countless amount of times, they literally gave CJ Stroud more weapons in his arsenal. They loaded him up with Joe Mixon. They gave him obviously they extended Dalton Schultz, and now you added Cade Stover to the mix. And not even that, now you have a healthy Tank Dell coming in. You have Nico Collins, who they just signed, gave him an extension, and then
love Nico, dude.
Exactly. And then you just added Stephon Diggs into the mix just for the shits and giggles.
Drafted Brock Bowers, get off my ass, bro.
Oh, nice. There you go. So you add all these weapons and then some, really, because even then you still have some wide receiver depth as well to play around with. You got Noah Brown, you have John Mechie, who God knows how that's going to work out this year. Hopefully good. Xavier Hutchinson. You got Skoranek that they got over from the Rams.
Spoken on Skoranek.
Yeah. So like you have it's exciting to talk. And there's this comment that I saw right now by Thomas, and he said, "Man, it's so crazy to hear that out loud. That in a year or two of this thing, I'm quoting the way he said this thing, Super Bowl or bust." And he's right, because it's like the more you talk about it, the more excited you get, because on paper this team is great, and then you have a quarterback who is consistent, who was consistent this season, who is accurate as hell, that could deliver the ball just about anybody, and it gets you excited thinking about these things. So, as you were saying, the expectations are high. If you're a fan, right? If you're a fan of this team, expectations should be high. Should be high.
Time to be alive.
and I should have stated this. I've been saying it more lately, but I don't know if y'all know AO Texans Nation. He's on Twitter. I met him at the season ticket holder event like a month or so ago, and he asked me, like, what are your expectations, or what do you think about this season? And I was like, man, honestly, I think we can win the Super Bowl, but I was like, I don't know, like, I'm just kind of like shell shocked from years past. Like, I'm nervous to like fully commit to like say that. And he's like, bro, fuck that, dude. Like, the past is the past. Like, that's different. And I was like, ever since then I walked away, and I was like, you know what? Like, I've changed my whole mindset. Like, I'm not afraid to like say it now. Like, I genuinely believe this. I know I'm biased, but it's like, we all know our team better than anybody, because we just look at this stuff all day, and we saw the offseason we had. We know how good CJ Stroud is. We're not some haters just saying he's going to have some sophomore slump for no freaking reason. Like, he is the truth. D'Amico is the truth. And then, I get having PTSD because of what we went through. The Bill O'Brien's team up 24-0 against the Chiefs in the divisional round. Me and my boys were like lit as fuck. We were like, okay, we're about to beat the Chiefs. The Titans are coming to NRG, because I think they just had beaten the Patriots or something like that. But
yeah, I believe so.
Basically, I was like, okay, we're gonna win that game. We're going.
We would have won that Super Bowl.
So I was like already like in my head, like, we're going to the Super Bowl, bro. But anyway, so we had this like crazy high, and then it just comes crashing down. So like rightfully so, we're all just burned by it. But what AL Texas Nation made me realize is, look, this is what it boils down to. D'Amico Ryans is not Bill O'Brien. CJ Stroud is not Deshaun Watson. This is not the same thing. So, like, if you believe it, just say it. That's
it's a much upgraded team anyway. I think the guys from I want to say is Texans 22 podcast had like a comparison chart of like that 2019 team and the current team that we have now, and like everything on it was an upgrade. I think with the exception of maybe JJ Watt on there or something like that.
At the most important spots too, head coach and quarterback. I mean, the rest, whatever.
This is definitely would you say this? Because I would say yes on this. This is perhaps the most talented team that we've had, I believe.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. I mean, we're over here complaining about like cornerback 2 and interior D line. Like, we don't know. Like, like obviously, like as fans, like we all like did our research on like, okay, these are our weaknesses. This is guys we want, and then we get all upset when they don't pick the guys we want. But like, what do we know? Like, a lot of it is like you look at the guys that D'Amico has made great over the years, like even the 2 linebackers in San Fran, Greenlaw and Warner, like no one was high on them before, but look at them now. They're like freaking all pro. So it's like he knows what he wants and he knows what he sees in guys, whether it's like they have the right measurements to fit in his scheme, like D-line specifically. He likes length and attackers as opposed to, we all wanted just a big run-stopping, nose-plugging, guy. Cornerback, he basically with the cornerback 2 spot, Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson, he's just gambling on his coaching, which I will take 1,000% all day. And, I get people are stressing on that because before, if we did that and Bill O'Brien's the one coaching him up, well, shit, I don't trust that, but I trust D'Amico.
No, he has proven that he's the guy for the job. And like, when he came in, I was like, okay, let me see how it plays out in the field. And obviously we had a great season. Like now I'm just like, bro, I'll trust you with anything that you want to do. I'm 100% behind it. I'm 100% behind it. Even with the draft, this past draft, like there were a couple of like maybe picks from left field a little bit, but I was like, you know what? I'm leaving it to him, man. He's the guy. He's earned
the benefit of the doubt at this point.
Definitely, 100%, 100%.
Let me go to a comment by Thomas Chavarria. He says, my only fear with that logic is you still need to go through the Ravens and Chiefs, and the Texans have zero history of that.
What logic are you referring to? The pass is the pass or the D line?
Yeah, I think that's what
I think the pass logic, Thomas. So
I mean that's still irrelevant. Like this isn't Deshaun Watson and Bill O'Brien playing Lamar Jackson and Jim Harbaugh. So I mean, I don't. But like I guess last year we lost to the Ravens in the playoffs. But yeah, it was our rookie. Like we were just on house money, bro. And that was as tough as that loss was. That was a valuable experience for us. Like. Going into a hostile environment, like that shit affected us. Like,
and it was a competitive. It was a competitive first half. I would say it was the second half where we lost.
The game still wasn't as bad. Like if you look at the box scores, that they got their ass kicked. But I was there, and like they were scared. Like I was talking big shit at halftime, like thinking we were gonna win. And then, I mean, I said this early in the spaces. Like they literally had 2 possessions. We had 1 possession. It was tied at half. After that, we had 1 possession. We were in the fourth quarter. We're down 14 points. We had 1 possession in the second half, and we were down 14 points. Like they basically, that's why I thought they were the real deal because they had that methodical ball control team. Like basically just suffocated the clock. We had no chance, bro.
Yep.
Yeah.
On the ball, I think at one point Singletary was averaging like 2.1 yards a carry. I'm like, bro, you can't win a playoff game against Baltimore and run the ball like that. Which is why I'm glad they went out and got Joe Mixon, who's upgraded, at the running back position. Because man, I can't.
So, that brings me to that. Thank you, Rios, for bringing that one up. Another thing that I've been really, I guess, adamant about. This was a couple of weeks ago. I brought this up before, and I asked every guest about this. D'Amico Ryans was talking. I think it was to the Chronicle, and he was talking about how he's looking to have like a 1-2 punch with Damian Pierce. Excuse me, with Joe Mixon and Damian Pierce. When he said that, I tell the guys this all the time. I said on the shows, it almost reminds me of. It seems like they're trying to almost recreate what they had with Arian Foster and then Ben Tate, like back in 2011. Like at that point, Arian Foster, the running back that finds the gaps and is very patient or whatever, and then you got Ben Tate, that power runner that goes through anything. Runs through people. That's what that kind of reminded me of when he said that. And so I mean, I would love to see that. That would be amazing to see. Obviously, I like Joe Mixon, but Arian Foster was a different kind of running back. We were all spoiled with Arian Foster, and then what gets me is that I like Dameon Pierce. I think he's a great person. From all the interviews that he's had and from hearing him, he seems like everybody, like awesome. A guy that just gravitates around people and people gravitate around him and stuff like that. But I don't know how this is going to happen in the offseason. I'm hoping the best as a fan, of course, that he's able to fix the problems last year. Now, of course, you can attribute some of those problems with maybe, not being his scheme. Maybe the O-line wasn't doing him any favors as well. There's like so many variables that kind of perhaps contributed to that. But at the end of it all, I still think that, there were times when Dameon Pierce probably could have been a little more patient and not just gone straight into contact or whatnot. It almost, I think Rios and I were watching a game one day and I was like, good Lord, this is almost like Trent Richardson style vision, at one point.
You would literally go out of the way, even touch that, like, nah, fuck that, I'm gonna hit this dude.
Fuck that, yeah. And so I don't know. I'm hoping I have high expectations for sure for Dameon Pierce this season. I just don't know how that's going to work out because I'm just waiting to see. This is where I'm at right now. I'm waiting to see because I do have high expectations for Dameon Pierce. So for you coming into a new season with more time to develop this offensive scheme, what are your expectations on Dameon Pierce?
Man, my sentiments are the exact same as yours, Carlos. I mean, love the guy. He's awesome. He's a great player. It's just a misfit of scheme. So I'm optimistic to hope he can figure it out. But now with the Shanahan, we run a zone scheme, which is more lateral. You basically run towards the sideline, and so do the linemen, and everyone kind of finds a guy in their area, and it's more of a vision, one step and cut, go. So you have to have vision and then be a good decision maker. He has all the bit of the athletic ability. But like we were saying, like you said, I mean, we see the games last year where he would have a hole and go this way, or he'd be running and just run into a guy, which is fine, but it's just in this offense, it just doesn't work. And my concern is typically, I'm a big proponent normally that you can learn and develop things like even speed to an extent. I mean, obviously the raw speed, but like, training technique. Anyhow, vision to me is something as a running back, I feel like it's a pretty innate trait, something they say either you have it or you don't. I'm sure there's cases where people have developed it. So in Pierce's case, I hope that he can get it. I don't think it was a matter of not getting the playbook. I think it's just a matter of the natural vision, seeing holes. I mean, which is why Arian Foster, he probably was undrafted because I guarantee you he was in a gap scheme where you run straight forward and didn't do great. And then he gets thrown into a zone scheme. He's like, oh shit, this is easy. Yeah, I just hit the. So, I mean, it's just how, we all have different traits.
You're like, you got to look where you're running. Okay.
Yeah, but I guarantee you, Foster, though, it just was natural to him. I guarantee you, it just was a natural fit, So I'm optimistic, or I hope. I'm not too sure. But I do know for a fact that Dameon Pierce could definitely start for a handful of teams right now, better than their starting running backs, especially in the gap scheme. So I was surprised. I thought for sure he'd be traded, like the way the Cowboys were operating running back room through the offseason. I mean, Jerry Jones basically wasn't signing anybody. They had no money, didn't draft anybody. I thought for sure they would draft Jordan Brooks out of UT, because he was hyping him up. And I still wouldn't put that off the table either, honestly. I mean, just because he hasn't been traded now, I mean, we know how the NFL is. I mean, if you play fantasy football too, you see how many freaking running backs get hurt, like week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that could be, so that could be a good asset. I mean, right now, I'm sure he's probably like a 6th, 7th round pick, which is that would be tough to let go for. I mean, but the fact that we got him for a 4th round pick too, I mean, shit, we'll take anything. But that could be something to look out for. I mean, if Dallas, Zeke gets hurt and then they gambled on the running back room and they need a running back to try and win a championship now, I think Dameon would be able to go over there right away and work in that offense. And who knows, they may throw a 4th or 5th round pick to us. So
there you go. That'd be great. It's funny. I read
Alex.
But then we'll put a little luxury tax on that, like an extra round.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. Yeah,
we're gonna need a 1st round pick, Jerry.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. All right. So Thomas answered back and he says, I'm not comparing the D4 era to this one that the Ravens have just been at it for a minute. Very capable, but haven't gotten done yet. And then the Texans might have to go to war with them for at least a season to get over that hump. I'm looking forward to the day they get past them for sure.
I mean, I'm ready. They're ready. I mean, obviously, yes, they are the ones to beat. They beat us, and they went to the AFC Championship game. And I thought they were the best team. Played a terrible game against the Chiefs and still could have won. There was like 4 or 5 plays, just one of them goes the other way. So I mean, I think the way they're built is insane. So yeah, I mean, it is the Chiefs and then the Ravens for us to get past. But I mean, that shouldn't deter us. Like the past, in my opinion, shouldn't have an effect on that. And I'm not saying that you're saying that, but you know,
right.
You're right. But I'm not scared of it.
Do you think we're the third best team in this side of the bracket?
Yep, I do. Chiefs,
Fair.
Ravens, us, and I would probably put the Bengals behind us, and then who would come after that?
Probably the Bills, maybe.
Bills, yeah, Bills, man. I think they may not even make the playoffs this year. I think Miami runs away with that division.
I don't know, man.
I think Josh Allen's overrated. Like, I mean, he's not. Everyone says he's like top 3. He's not top 3. He's like top 5, top 6 in my opinion. And we'll see this year. We'll see how it goes.
Exactly. Without Diggs, I feel like this is more of a prove it type of year for him.
Yeah,
but I still think he's elite. Like not better than Mahomes. A lot of people put him.
My whole take on him is everyone gets so enamored by his athletic abilities, you know, his scramble. Like he's great, don't get me wrong, but like they get so fixated on these like wow highlight plays. But if you like judge him off the entirety of being a quarterback, he's not anywhere close to Mahomes, or some of these more cerebral guys. Like you can see, like he's, you know, there's some times where he's not going through his progressions. Like if you watch all the tape from Stephon Diggs, like when he was supposedly washed and didn't catch any balls, because he didn't freaking throw the ball. He's wide open every play, bro. Like he either blatantly missed the read or he ignored him. So it's like, which one is it? You know, there's probably a mixture of both. But I mean, he's a great quarterback. He's not a top 3 in my opinion. But I feel like it's just everyone's so stuck on this, like the world we live in. It's like highlights and flashy stuff, and that's all you remember. But like, what about the fumbles and shit too? You know, like. He's a turnover machine.
That's
bro.
the biggest thing. If he could fix that part of his game, I feel like he would like go to another level.
But that's the problem, though. Like that's a player like that. You get these crazy highs, but you also get these little things. So that's the give and take, you know.
I think Thomas also wrote Miami. What are your thoughts on Miami?
Miami is legit. I would put Miami ahead of Buffalo for sure. Miami, I think, is going to run away with that division. So yeah, I think Miami would be behind Cincinnati. I thought Miami was a legit ass team last year. They got hit hard by the injury bug. They had a legit defense. I mean, they had like 5, 6, 7 like super impactful starters go down. And then I feel like they didn't get a fair shake in that Chiefs game. Like the narrative was already written before the game that, you know, they couldn't play in the cold, but really they didn't have over half their starting defense. So it's like they never even stood a chance in that game. So that'll be an interesting team to watch this year.
Yeah, and going to Arrowhead, even healthy, it's always.
Yeah. But the narrative's already written, like, oh, they can't play in the cold, you know.
And it wasn't like the coldest day, like some shit.
Well, a whole bunch of
no one can play in that shit.
Like hypothermia and shit.
Yeah, I mean,
like when your
helmet
sweat
like cracked off.
Yeah, when your sweat is like turning into icicles, like before it even hits the ground, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's insane, dude.
2024,
we need to change that.
And then you got the one Miami fan shirtless. I was like, bro, it's -30. What the fuck are you doing?
Bro, just
anybody checked in on him, by the way? Is he still alive?
Whiskey, bro.
Well insulated.
Florida man strikes again. So okay, another team that I'm thinking here, and the reason why I'm asking about this team, I like Justin Herbert as a quarterback. I do. What are our thoughts on the Chargers now that they've added Harbaugh into the mix?
I love Harbaugh, great coach. His Michigan team, I had bet them to win it like before the year and like bet them all along the way because they were built to win a championship. Right. Very much like his brother. Like they are legit like football guys. Like they build the team how you're supposed to, which has kind of gone away from a little bit with the new offensive rules, but elite defense, ball control, like smart offense. But I feel it may take him some time to flip that. I mean, they were in salary cap hell. Yeah. But I think Justin Herbert is also overrated. Like I argue with Justin Herbert fans all the time about these top 5 quarterback rankings because they're always trying to put him ahead of CJ Stroud. I always say, I'm like, what the hell has Herbert done? Like, oh, but stat. I'm like, dude, I mean, half these games, you know, they're playing from behind and they're like, how many of these stats are garbage? Like I want someone to go through and tell me the garbage time stats. So
it's
probably most of it because they they score about 30 points a game, but they defense gives up 35. So they're always playing from behind. So
and they want to blame it all on the defense, which has been bad. But how much of that is you? Because either you didn't score early and turned the ball over and got your team in a hole, or because you didn't slowly, methodically drive the ball and win the game that way. Like, how much of it's on you? Like, you talk to these, like, he's good. Don't get me wrong, but he's not top 5. He's like maybe 8 or something like that, in my opinion. But like, you talk to these Herbert stands, which are like in hordes, and they go and tag their buddies and try to chime in. I'm like, all right, I'll take on all you guys, but
give me your top 5 real quick.
Top 5. So you got Mahomes, you got Lamar, and I'm biased as shit, but like, I really, really, really want to put CJ Stroud there. I mean, I know what I've seen from that guy, dude. CJ is insane, dude. Yeah, I'll put CJ at 3.
Okay.
And since Burrow got hurt, he could be there, but he has to bounce back from. He had a pretty significant. He hurt his throwing arm, right? His forearm. So I mean, that could affect him. So I would put Burrow at 4. Who am I missing now? Like maybe Allen at 5. I don't know. Is there a list? I need to see a list to make sure. But I know for sure that's my top 4.
You got Allen, you got Herbert, you got Prescott, Hurts, Goff, Cousins, Tua, Purdy, Rodgers.
Okay. Yeah, so Rodgers is still underrated in my opinion. Like,
Davis
the Jets,
Mills.
to me, I can't believe no one's talking about the Jets. Like I remember this time last year, Jets are like Super Bowl favorites. And Rodgers threw his Achilles, and now it's like he's dead. Like, he lost all of his powers. Like, what happened?
Because we
like,
gotta see it though. We gotta see it because my guy.
Well, no one's saying that about Kirk Cousins. Like, everyone's assuming that he's going to be the
Shit,
same
I
guy.
am. Like, on paper it looks good, but it's like, bro, he's coming back from an injury. That's why they drafted that other quarterback.
I guess people don't trust the ayahuasca.
They don't know if it's gonna pan out how they think it is.
But look at the Jets, and even CJ said this too. Like, CJ knows ball, bro. Like, their defense was so damn good. Like, if they just had like somewhat of a competent quarterback, like, they could have made a playoff run. Yeah. So I mean, if Aaron Rodgers can be like 60 to 70% of what he was his last few years at Green Bay, like, they are a legit Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
I just
they got weapons on offense too now.
They do. They have receivers.
To see it, that was the biggest.
But the thing with Rodgers is, like, his game isn't really predicated off of running around. Like, he's a cerebral quarterback. Like, you don't lose your brain when you hurt your Achilles, and his arm's fine. I mean,
Yeah, he's always
that's my thing.
It's not like.
Yeah, but maybe part of it is it's like how crazy he is off the field. So maybe people kind of like subconsciously weigh that in. I don't know.
So since we were talking about
really overrated,
but the Jets are one of the teams that I'm most excited to see this year with a healthy Rodgers.
I can see that.
But that's the big question mark. Healthy Rodgers. He hasn't been healthy in quite a few years now.
Yeah.
So I want to take this over here because as we were talking about overrated and overpaid, what are your thoughts on Trevor Lawrence?
Overrated.
Overrated.
Definition of mid.
Adding AF to it. All right. So the reason I brought him up is because I've been reading a lot of these articles and these things that have come up that even the YouTube videos that I've been watching, it's where they talked about how Trevor Lawrence has put CJ Stroud and actual top quarterbacks in a tough situation because of the type of contract that the Jacksonville Jaguars gave a quarterback. And I'll go above and beyond and say this, who really hasn't proven much to get this type of contract. And
he's Daniel Jones with the head and shoulders there.
Right.
Better looking Daniel Jones.
With more hair. Yeah. And so at this point, what are your do you really think that Trevor Lawrence did put the quarterbacks that are top tier elite quarterbacks in the awkward situation with teams based on salary cap and things like that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was him. It was their freaking owner. Is it Shahid Khan, right? I mean, I bet all those other owners are like, what are you doing, bro? Like, now they have to pay their guys no matter what. Like, Trevor Lawrence is the top paid quarterback in the league, and he's like maybe top 15. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah. And coincidentally, like, within a week, you hear these articles coming about owners trying to put a cap on salary cap for percentage of how much can go towards quarterback. Because they're like, this is getting out of control if Trevor Lawrence is getting paid the most. But I'm mad that he ruined the market for quarterback, so to speak. But I'm happy as a Texans fan that they are handcuffed to him for next 2, 3, 4, 5 years.
5 years.
Because I thought before that, like, he might have been not their guy in just a couple years. And things could change. But But my take on him is obviously he's got the talent, and people forget that he's kind of like an athlete quarterback, and like he did a lot of winning at Clemson. I guess because he's white, I don't know, but like he was kind of a dual threat quarterback. Like he can run. I guess that's maybe my own bias, but so like he does, and you can see like.
I was like,
I try to hold it in.
You're not wrong.
But anyways, like people forget, like he probably is considered a dual threat quarterback. And then for me, a lot of the time, it's like a blessing and a curse because like you're good as heck running the ball, but you get to the league, it can get you into trouble. Like you're always trying to go for these home runs. I actually made like a low light reel of Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
and almost half of them are him. The play's dead. The first, second, third read's not there. Rather than just throwing the ball away or doing something smart, he tries to spin out of some tackle and make some crazy play, and he just freaking fumbles the ball into nowhere, Yeah. And then I feel like he isn't great at reading a defense. Like he literally, gets stuck after like the second option. Like CJ's hitting like his third, fourth, and fifth options like half the time. And then also at times he's just wildly inaccurate. Like I don't know where there'll be a guy wide open, the ball is five. You're thinking he like, I don't know. It's just. So I don't know. They were in a tough position though. Like, is it worth them to risk going into a contract year and then have to potentially find another guy? So
like
I guess
start
you just
over
gotta get
again.
lucky like us.
Yeah,
Hit on your pick.
for sure.
I think they
this
paid
point.
him early. I mentioned previously, like the smart move would have been to have him play out that fourth year, and if he plays like they expect him to play, then you can either give him that 5-year extension or give him the bag at that point. But you're basically gambling on the hope that he's the generational quarterback that he was hyped to be. But
so let's just say that he is the guy they think. Like, how much money did they save? Like $2 to $5 million a year. Like, is it worth that?
Yeah, no. Like you said earlier, like sometimes GMs and owners or whatever, they don't like to admit that they're wrong and they'll double down on their picks and the guy, and like
this feels like
that's the reason why the market,
especially when he's number one overall, you have no excuse. You got to get anybody you wanted and you picked him.
The pressure was there from the very beginning, and so he was always going to get the bag, whether it was at Jacksonville or anywhere else, unless he like really like just fell off, which he's been like consistently mid at worst. I guess.
I love that. Consistently mid.
So you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like a theory I like made, and I call it perpetual mediocrity. But like the Cowboys, for example, were like this is a little bit different, but I guess it's similar with the quarterback. Like they're okay with like they basically settled for Trevor Lawrence, and rather than trying to replace him with like something great. Yeah. But like they're never going to go win a Super Bowl with him, in my opinion, or at least not because of him.
Yeah.
But like the Cowboys, Jerry Jones is an owner where they are good during the regular season, make the playoffs, maybe win, maybe don't, but like they're not winning more than one playoff game.
Right.
And rather than him realizing like, hey, we don't have a legit chance to win a Super Bowl, rather than like what the Texans did, we sacrificed 2 years, we tanked.
Yeah.
It's like the Astros, we tanked. Rather than say like, I'm either in it to win it or I'm going to rebuild until I can. I feel like owners like Jerry Jones don't want to sacrifice 2 years of having the fans, the shit on the organization to set you up for future success. So, I mean, we should be super grateful to Callahan McNair for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Like they knew what they were doing and they stood through their plan. They could have easily just veered off and tried to keep us at 800 foot or 500 football like it's always been and just keep us buying tickets. And then we go to the playoff game and we lose. Like we'll never get, but they realized they needed to sacrifice to get to where we're at. So I think that's a phenomenon in like a lot of major sports. And I get it. If I was an owner, I wouldn't want to be embarrassed and risk money. It's not a guarantee to rebuild. So
yeah, but if you're the owner, man, you're not gonna fire. Like just fucking rebuild the shit. Like
yeah, right.
Like they're too like focused on getting on base that they're not trying to go for the home run.
Yeah,
and it's just like you said, you get stuck in that limbo.
Yeah, like perpetual mediocrity, bro.
Like Dallas and New Orleans and the Raiders and fucking.
They pretty much are 500 every year, maybe a little bit better, and they make the playoffs. And like fans get excited, and then they lose. They get excited.
You're consistently mid. At
We're going on 3 decades of mediocrity.
Yeah, and that's what the Texans felt like for a while, for a good stretch.
That was us. That was us.
Yeah.
9-7, first round exit.
Saturday wild card playoff game at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
No, exactly. Let me see. What's another thing I was gonna ask? Wow, I lost train of thought here.
Well,
I'm lost in this conversation because it's awesome.
Well, you think about that? What you think about that, bro? What are the Rockets doing? What are we doing with this third pick? I'm looking at all the mock drafts.
Stepford, right?
Yeah, I'm getting all the mock drafts, and people are saying like we're gonna trade it.
Jalen Green or something like that.
I don't see us trading it, man.
I don't know, man. People are talking
I've
about.
been seeing all
Paul
these
George
veteran
coming
names
to
they
the
wanted to
team.
get. Paul George, fuck no.
Yeah.
Marcus Smart. I mean,
No,
what are you gonna do, bro?
What are you doing when he doesn't move the needle? Like, what the fuck?
No.
Not
Okay,
at $8 million a year. Like, come on now. At 35, and the dude said he doesn't care about winning a championship. Like, that's not the kind of mentality you want to run these young guys. Like,
Yeah, no, he's gonna stay in LA for sure.
Yeah. All right. I thought about it now. Sorry. All right. So besides the the Ravens and the Chiefs game, is there another game that you are dying to see?
Dying to see. So Ravens and Chiefs. Lions.
Lions.
Is it Sunday night, right?
That's my must watch.
I mean, Lions and Packers. I mean, those are two teams that I can see us playing the Super Bowl. Lions, obviously, they damn well easily could have been in the Super Bowl. They freaking had the Niners on the ropes.
Yeah.
And, at first glance, I was like, blaming Man Campbell for being the gambler, but he made a good point. Like, they basically did that shit all year. And if they make one of those 4 or 5 plays, they win. So, I mean, and that's the things like the players are with it, and they, it was on them. But yeah, they're legit. But the Packers game, I can't believe that game is not a primetime game. Like, NFL, what are you doing? They give like 2 budding superstars, Jordan Love and CJ Stroud, the future of the NFL, and you don't put them on primetime at Lambeau? Like, what are we doing, bro?
Last season, there were, remember, the Texans had no primetime games whatsoever, and there were a lot of games that should have been on primetime from the Texans last season that you can think of. I think my favorite last season was that Steelers game. That, to me, and the Tampa Bay game were just incredible.
The Tampa Bay game was.
Yeah. I was at both of those games, and man, the atmosphere, like, it felt like years past when energy was packed. Like, you could feel the energy in the stadium. Like, it took me back to the good old days.
Nice,
I think I'd watch. I'd like to see that the Lions and the Packers games are good. I want to see the Cowboys. I want to go to the Cowboys game.
Dude, I want to see Houston destroy Dallas. Dude.
Yeah.
Facts. Yeah, my wife was a Cowboys fan.
Oh, how's that gonna go? How does that go? Whenever
she's
we lost him. His wife unplugged the Wi-Fi. She's like, talk shit.
You're gonna see a frying.
The Wi-Fi. That was God. Yeah. Oh, hey, bro, don't no.
Just throw a shoe at me. What the?
He comes back like a purple eye out of nowhere. Yeah.
I love my wife.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's sure we get that on the record.
No, but she's just like what I said. Like, she is a Cowboys fan, and a lot of my friends, like, they're sick of the perpetual mediocrity. Like I talked about, like, she knows what it is. Like, even her dad, the reason she's a big Cowboys fan, like how earlier I was saying, like, we can get our hopes up. Like, they've learned not to get their hopes up because they're still the same team, same coach, same owner, and it's the same shit every year. Like, so they already know like what they're setting themselves up for. So like every year they'll, I'm not like everyone makes a joke about it's our year for Cowboys.
Yes.
And any real Cowboys fan will tell you, like, over the past 4 or 5 years, each year it started out like it's our year. It's like it's our year. It's our year. Now they're just like, now they know, like, okay, they already know what they're.
It only took them.
I almost feel bad for them, dude, because they remember what happened with Dak before, and then the season happens, he does really good, and they start believing again every year, and then the playoff game comes and he sucks, and they just get let down.
Yeah.
It's the same story every year, bro.
It's the same story. Yeah, it never changes.
No, it's funny. I was on a date last year during that Packers and Cowboys game. The girl I was on the date with, she was a Cowboys fan. The look of dejection on her face after that final score, man.
That was, to me, that was out coaching masterclass. Matt LaFleur out coached the shit out of Mike McCarthy, bro. I mean, people want to blame Dak. I do. He didn't play great, but a lot of that was coaching. But like the biggest mistake they made was hiring Mike McCarthy. Like, Jerry Jones can hire any coach he ever wants every year, and he's stuck with Mike McCarthy, who won a Super Bowl because of Aaron Rodgers. Like, what are we doing, dude? Well, which is cool with me,
Yeah,
but
just keep it, just keep it going, Dallas.
Do you know how long we plan on going? I know I kind of been rambling a lot. I want to get across before.
What was that?
I have one like a point that I've thought about. I don't think I've really
No,
verbalized
go ahead.
it, but
Go for it.
so we've talked about like expectations of Super Bowl 2012 Seattle Seahawks, Russell Wilson. This is what's been talked about all offseason. You have a rookie quarterback on his rookie deal. Russell Wilson, his second year, sophomore season. That's exactly what they did. They had a great offseason. They went and put pieces around him, elite defense, and they won a Super Bowl. So right. 2024 Texans, 2012 Seattle Seahawks. At first glance too, I was kind of like in my mind comparing the two. And I was like, obviously CJ Stroud is way better than Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But we forget, dude, like I saw like the stats, like they compared CJ to like all these other quarterbacks rookie years, and like Tom Brady was up there, Drew Brees, maybe Peyton Manning, like all these great quarterbacks. It was very in-depth stats. And like the one that was like most comparable to CJ Stroud was Russell Wilson. So
yeah.
he was better than we
baller, dude. Russell was a baller when he first.
So he was better than what we thought. And then the other thing too, like we forget, like one thing they have very much in common that I think is a huge factor in all this is their mental makeup as a young quarterback. Even though like now it's kind of played out with Russell and he's like a cheesy D-bag, but like early on, he was a massive vocal leader.
Yeah.
He's a massive vocal leader, very mature, and like he was just a great teammate. Like the stuff that you see with CJ, which he is not on Russell Wilson's career arc, so we're not going to entertain that. But there are similarities, though. Like CJ is wise beyond his years, commands the locker room as a rookie, and the way he does it, though, is not from just trying to be like some alpha. Like he's just relatable and like boys with everybody. So I see a lot of similarities between those two teams, and I feel like none of the national media is talking about that.
Well, you bring up a great point, because everything you see from CJ Stroud during this offseason while he was either in Japan or whatever country he was out, it was always that leadership mentality. It's almost like how we talked about D'Amico Ryans bringing out the best out of guys. I think he does the same thing with like guys like Tank Dell and Nico. Like basically that chemistry that he has with his core players, really, if you think about it, because I guess if it just works that way. If you develop that chemistry with them, obviously they're going to do what they can for you. That everybody gravitates around him. He's a natural born leader, and I think it transcends throughout the entire team. Because what was it last season? I want to say it was a Steelers game. I can't remember who it was that went up after. I think it was after a sack or something like that, and CJ went up to the dude's face also. I can't remember who it was.
Broncos?
No, that was Broncos.
Was it Broncos?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he stood up to
got the flag thrown on him. I think it was Alex Singleton, right?
That's what it was.
A linebacker for the Broncos.
Yeah, and from there it was like I feel like he earned the respect of more people on that one, because it's like, oh, he's nobody to mess around with. Like that's
with anybody, bro.
Yeah,
he flares his teeth when he needs to. Like he's not like some meathead like Will Levis, like super jacked arms, like trying to act like he's the strongest dude. But he'll let don't mess with me when he needs to. He does a good job of like. Obviously, you don't want to be out as a quarterback. You're not in the business during a game of just talking shit to somebody. Like,
right? You
got other stuff to worry about.
Yeah.
But like, eventually, though, if something happens, you got to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
There you go. That's one thing I want to bring up about. So before we go, I wanted to ask you, in the AFC South race, obviously, I think we all can agree that we see the Texans up here, right, at the top. But there are three other teams. Which teams would you put in order? That's
pretty easy. I'm sure y'all agree. If y'all don't, then I don't know what y'all are watching.
Oh, go ahead.
Let's go. We got the Texans,
yes,
the Colts, Jaguars, Titans.
Okay. Your expectations are okay. So yeah, I think we all kind of agree. Did y'all agree with that one or no?
Yeah, I feel like Colts and Jacksonville, depending, they could like flip at some point, but definitely Texans.
For me, that would depend on Richardson's health status.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all depending on the AR5. If he's healthy, I think they're the second best team in the division.
Yeah. Which is not hard with the.
But to me, though, that is a big concern for them, because I mean, it's got to be tough for these OCs to have a super athletic quarterback. It's kind of like complaining like you got a good player, but it's also like a big dilemma of like how much do you utilize and exploit that side of his ability without pushing the envelope and getting him hurt. So like having to find that fine balance has got to be so tough. I mean, and then also they probably run a lot of RPOs where the decision's already in his hands.
Yeah.
And, if I'm AR and I'm some athlete, like I'm going to run that thing every time. Like because you're
Yeah.
good, but you're also, you
But
may be a
he's
little
gonna
too
get hurt,
aggressive.
just like last year.
Yeah,
Exactly.
facts.
Uh,
Sorry, what was the second part of the question, Carlos?
no, you're good. So I know you talked about Will Levis. What do you think? If you're running the Titans, do you believe this could be the guy, or is this a Mr. Right Now kind of guy while we find a better?
They have to try, right? I mean, you spent the capital on them. They're basically in rebuild mode, so they have nothing to lose. So, I mean, what they're doing is correct. You put as much weapons around them as you can, even though I think they're overrated and overpaid, except for Tyler Boyd. That was a great signing. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe he shows you something. But to me, from my opinion, watching him, he's not the guy. And again, like all this quarterback stuff for me, like CJ is, I've always thought this, but he's made it more apparent. It's if you don't have this, I mean, it don't mean shit, bro. Like, I don't think he has the ability to read a defense and lead a team. Like, there's like small intangible stuff that people don't see or talk about.
Do you think they should just straight up tank and just start from zero?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, because they already have their high draft pick and a quarterback. So, I mean, I guess early on you try with him and develop him. And then, but yeah, I mean, if they start to see something halfway through, yeah, or if you start to see like halfway through, like, oh, okay, we know he's not the. Well, here's the thing: is Callahan's a new coach, so he didn't draft him, so it's his decision to make. So, my first instinct is usually when it's not your guy, you get rid of him. So, I mean, you just made me realize that right now. So he probably doesn't want him, so they probably aren't going to tank. But I'm sure he's going to go through what he's doing right now is seeing if he wants to keep this guy or not. Seeing how he, works in his offense, which is from Cincinnati. Joe Burrow obviously thrived in that. So, but again, Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud to me are very similar, and they've been comped before. It's because their mental side of the game, they get that. They can read defenses, make checks, and all that stuff. Good decision making. But I think Will Levis is like a meathead quarterback, bro. Like, he just wants to run the ball and throw it far as hell. It's like, that shit don't work, dude.
All that mayo, bro.
Like I said, if his
that mayo, dude.
All that mayo.
He needs to work on his release.
Yeah, you see that video I made? A little
yeah. When you say Will Levis in videos, I'm just not interested right now in that.
NSFW.
Yeah. Hey, so the last thing before we leave, and then this is because we kind of always talk about this between us three here. Brock Purdy. Your opinion on Brock Purdy? Do you think he's a legit quarterback, or do you think he's just a system quarterback that benefits off of the team?
It's in between, but I would say he does get slept on a lot, even by me sometimes. I mean, and we're probably starting to experience that too, because some crazy people call CJ a system quarterback, even though it's been 1 year. But
what the fuck? Can we even call that a system?
Yeah, right. He's in the same system, as he is, But I mean, at the end of the day, the dude's a winner, bro. Like, I mean, who else did they have that was like winning? I guess other guys have won too in that system. But no, I think he would be in my top 10, probably like around 8 or so.
That's where I had him.
Yeah, around 8 or so. But I think it's in between. Some people are like, oh, he's top 5. But then I guess most rankings have him around 12 probably is probably where he's at in most rankings. So I think he's a little bit better, but he's definitely not like all people that shit on him. He's not as bad as they think. Like, those people don't even watch football. They're like, oh, Niners system, do it. Like, come on, dude.
All right. I just want to get your take on it. All right, so that's actually going to be a wrap for our show, but I do want to thank Garrett here for joining us, man. I appreciate you. I'm wishing the best for your channel as you grow, man. Please follow Houston Stressins at Texans Commenter. I believe that's your IG, your Twitter, and your YouTube, right?
Yeah, IG's different, but you can find it. IG, it's Houston Stressins, but Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. All that, but
okay.
And then I'm a writer for Sporting News as well too, so I haven't written one in a week or so. I need to get busy on that, but
get it together, man.
Yeah. So your IG is at Houston Stressins, like that, right?
Boom. Yeah. Let's go.
Awesome.
And then the shirt just dropped today. It's the H-Town 713 shirt. I'll post it on my. Yeah. Let me know if y'all see if I can get y'all a discount code or something.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's retro. This shit is comfortable, man.
Yeah, no, it looks
if
like
you ever have any shirt ideas, hit me up. We'll collab on something.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, man, I want to thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate you. If you guys enjoyed the show, we appreciate any type of support from you guys. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at JustFans22. And follow us on our Instagram account at JustFansPod, just like it says there at the bottom. And this is just our hangout show where we just kind of talk shit about whatever comes to our mind. But if you want to get us in a little bit more of a serious role, we do have another YouTube channel for our Esquina. It is Bring on the Blitz podcast. Follow us up at BBlitzPod. Our X account is also at BBlitzPod. This is all part of the our Esquina network, podcast network as well. But hey, man, Garrett, I appreciate you joining us, man. You are awesome. Thank you. We'll definitely have you again, maybe a little bit closer to during the season starts, or hey, even during the season, maybe either bless or stress over one of the games or whatever.
Love it.
Let's hope it's
anytime.
blessed, man. Let's hope it's blessed.
Hey, anytime, man. Y'all are really cool, man. I enjoyed it. So, and again, appreciate it and keep up the good work. Y'all do some good stuff, man.
No, I appreciate you. And Thomas, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Shout out Tom.
Thank you, Thomas.
My guy.
There you go. All right, guys, that's gonna be it. Garrett, don't leave just yet. I'm just not in the show. Okay. All right.
Yeah, sure.
See y'all later. Peace.
Southwest A-League, Texas, throw down here and it's so infectious. We ride for the Houston Astros, Rockets, Dynamo, and them Texans. If you ain't never been down here, but rule number one, you gon' respect us. Just fans in my speakers, new one drop, they bout to bless us. I might right through the SWAT, playing just fans right through your spot. Look, and I don't know what you thought, but right here, dog, we gon' rep the squad. Got HU, I might fit it, then